Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Goldstein. I'm a licensed attorney and I work in legal and financial content writing, and I've been making these videos to help people better understand complicated financial decisions before they actually sign anything or go through with any deals, particularly as it relates to structured settlements. And today I want to talk about the one question that structured settlement buyers often avoid answering and why it makes them so uncomfortable. And this question is, what are my alternatives to selling the entire settlement? This question can be a little bit uncomfortable for the buyer and can create a little bit of tension, essentially because the buyer's a business. They want to make as much money as possible in most cases, and this means buying your entire settlement. So when you start talking about alternatives and asking if there are ways that you can either sell less or sell later or potentially not sell at all, this can make them a little bit uncomfortable and not as happy because they want to focus on your full settlement. In most cases, that's not true about all companies, but it is something that's worth considering and just something to keep in mind as you move forward. If a company is uncomfortable discussing alternatives and they immediately shift back to a full sale and they won't even go through your options with you, this is something that's a pretty big red flag, and you should consider continuing to look for a different company to work with. One of the best things you can do is make sure that you yourself are informed about the alternatives, because you can't always trust the company you're talking to present all the options to you. And one of the main alternatives is a partial sale. So most companies, when you approach them, they will try to buy your entire settlement. What you can do instead is sell part of the settlement. So this means you get a lump sum offer up front while still keeping some of your future payments. And this is a pretty big deal because a lot of people talk about the regret they have when they move forward, sell their entire settlement, and then look back and realize that they actually didn't need to do this, and now they have no money coming in the future. Sometimes the alternatives are just as much about timing as they are about how much you're actually selling. So you might experience what seems like a financial emergency, something that needs to be taken care of immediately, and assume that your only option is to sell right away, whether that's your entire settlement or just part of it. But in some cases, when you slow the process down and really take a moment to step back and try to figure out what your options are, you might realize that you either don't need to sell at all, or that you could sell less of your payment further in the future, preserving some of your money. For example, if you're facing a problem with paying for your house, or you're dealing with medical debt, you can reach out to creditors, or you can reach out to the hospital. You can try to make payment plans, and you can try to come up with a solution that doesn't include selling any or all of your settlement. Another possible option that some people don't consider is going back to the original settlement consultant or the lawyer who set up the settlement. And this is important just to get their perspective of whether selling the entire settlement or part of the settlement makes sense or not. And there's no reason to worry that too much time has passed or that they won't be able to help you. You should feel free to reach out to them and see if they can provide you with any objective advice that can help you make the right decision. When you're choosing a company for your structured settlement sale, it's important to understand these alternatives and what makes a company the right choice when you're moving forward. And what you should really be looking for is what kind of answer they give you when you start talking about the alternatives. Do they mention partial sales to you, and are they willing to discuss this as an option? Or do they just continuously focus on complete sales? Are they willing to discuss other options, like going back to your consultant or trying to figure out taking out a loan or something else, even if it means that they're not getting the sale? Are they suggesting that you seek outside review, or are they discouraging it? Have they talked to you about potentially selling later in the future, or are they insisting that you decide right now and you sell as soon as possible? Ultimately, you should be trying to find a company that's preservation focused, that can preserve your payments while still giving you as much as you need up front. Strategic Capital is a really good example of this. They often lead the conversation with what your options are. They are certainly willing to buy the entire settlement, but they very quickly and regularly are discussing your potential alternatives, whether a partial sale makes more sense or whether no sale is the best option for you. So this company is very focused on their reputation, and that's how they get a lot of their clients. So they tend to really want what's best for the people that they might be buying from. And this kind of preservation-focused company can be a really good option for you. If you're looking into selling your structured settlement, one of the most important things you can do is understand why this question is important and why it can make buyers uncomfortable, and what kind of answer you should be looking for when you start talking about the alternatives. And if there's one takeaway from this video, it should be that you should never feel rushed. You should never feel like you aren't allowed to seek outside advice, and you should never feel like the only option is to sell your entire settlement, because it's not. There are plenty of other options, and working with the right company means being able to explore those options without feeling pressured to make a decision right away. And I hope that this video has helped you make some of these choices in the future and that it helps you figure out what questions to ask while you're moving forward in this process. If you're looking into selling your structured settlement, one of the most important things you can do is understand why this question is important and why it can make buyers uncomfortable, and what kind of answer you should be looking for when you start talking about the alternatives. And if there's one takeaway from this video, it should be that you should never feel rushed. You should never feel like you aren't allowed to seek outside advice. And you should never feel like the only option is to sell your entire settlement, because it's not. There are plenty of other options, and working with the right company means being able to explore those options without feeling pressured to make a decision right away. And I hope that this video has helped you make some of these choices in the future and that it helps you figure out what questions to ask while you're moving forward in this process.